Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program for episode 25. Alright, let's get down to it right away. The VAB. Load spacecraft. I have, let's say, done research and development, and a lot of it. There's a pile of stock aircraft. So let's just start at the beginning. I'm going to take you through my whole design process here. So the first one, 402 parts with 12 stages. The largest thing I've ever built, and holy crap, I think my game is trying to shit itself loading it. There we are. So, for anyone who ever wondered why I used hybridyne boosters, this is the reason. Yeah. I might take some of these out onto the pad and show you launches, but this one I can guarantee I will not be doing. Simply because of the fact that I get 1 FPS trying to launch this thing. Hell, just sitting it on the pad gives me 1 FPS when I'm not recording. As much as I would love to show you this. And believe me, it's very good. It gets very far. Almost enough to get me into Kerbal escape trajectory and all that. Just not quite enough. So, I won't be showing you that one. Here we drop about 54 parts. As, again, my game will crap itself loading. Anyway, here we have a effectively just remade with better control surfaces, better strut placements. It's effectively just a remake of the first one. That was, like I said, shedded about 50 parts. It was my attempt to reduce the frame rate so I could use it. This could get to, what do you call it, Kerbal escape trajectory and all that. So this was, my first, this was very close to what I wanted, but the frame rate was just so bad I couldn't go with it. Like, you wouldn't be able to see anything until we're outside of the atmosphere. Like, you'd see me on the pad, you'd see me somewhere in the middle of the atmosphere, and then you'd see me in orbit. So, the reality of it is, I couldn't do that. Here, I, decided to go with a little bit of a lighter, design. These are actually just, like, standing, towers for it to sit on, because it was too heavy to sit on these. And this proved fairly effective. The frame rate wasn't terrible, and I could get fairly far, but it couldn't carry me as far as it needed to. So, you can slowly start to see the evolution of this craft, as it slowly does change, and will continue to change, as we go through this design doc. 0.4, I pretty much just put engines on the standing towers, which actually worked out pretty well. Got me almost where I needed in a reasonable frame rate, too. But it was not quite enough. Let's launch this one, since this was a very effective design. Assuming it'll take me out to the pad. Okay. So yeah, this thing's huge, and one of the problems I kept on having was things would get clipped off. There used to be things down there from the previous designs. I had to take those off. Oop. Don't tip over on me here. Because as you'll notice, if you look from this winglet down, you can easily clip the launch tower. That's another problem with this design is, holy heck, you can just see it wobble. Oh god. Most of my designs are prone to sometimes spontaneously combust and explode on the launch pad. Just so you know. I don't even know what to say. I was kind of hoping that wouldn't happen, but it happened. Let's go back to the VAB. This is my design doc of failure. As I show you all of my Terrible failures. So again, we've dropped about 100 parts on this model here as we go to 0.5. Which is effectively just the way I've changed this, added in a bits tank here, taken away the solid rocket boosters, redid the struts, so I need to use far fewer. This is still a bit of a mess up here, because this is the original design for the pod. So this is actually getting somewhere here. But here's part of the problem. Like, a tank around here would just sometimes randomly blow out of the side when sitting on the launch pad. Actually, it was in this row. But no idea why. It would just sometimes randomly go poof, and a tank would shoot out the side in an explosion. As the rocket would inevitably wobble around on the launch pad. Interplanet 0.6. Come on, here we are. This was one I thought I was going to be using. This side just effectively removed all the fuel tanks there, and I believe this one could actually sit on the launch pad and not explode. But I don't remember precisely. I was really just sitting around here trying to address the whole launch pad explosion issue. Yeah, okay, this one seems to be... Oh, there we go. Physics have kicked in. Alright, yeah, looks like we're steady here. Oh, nope. See, that's what would randomly happen. And that would happen. Ironically, during these testing procedures, almost no Kerbals got killed. Because all the times it would either work really well, and I'd just be able to parachute back down, or it would just explode on the launch pad. They'd never fall far enough to have their capsule explode and have them all die. So hilariously, yeah. And this is the part of my designs where I started attempting to fix this. Interplanet 0.7 was a scrapped upgrade, I call it. Let's see. What did I change here? Yeah. I tried to make the tower lighter. Tried to do all that. You know, reform this. But, Interplanet 0.7 had this weird problem where it wouldn't explode on the launch pad. Like, that was a significant improvement. I could get it to not explode on the launch pad. But the problem is it would just tip over. Once the physics kicks in on the thing. Oh, that's physics kicking in. And... Timber? You gotta be kidding me. There we go. Oh, no. Alright, so maybe I hadn't fully solved that problem yet, as we get more blowouts. Like I said, no Kerbals were harmed during this testing procedure, I swear. Oh, boy. So, yeah. Most of the time I just put up with the fact that 90% of the time they'd explode on the launch pad. Alright, so Interplanet 0.71 was my next attempt at, reforming this. And as you can see, in this design, we implement these things to keep us off the launch pad, and that solved a lot of the exploding and a lot of the tipping over procedures. Some SAS up here, and a slightly smaller fuel pod here. Just general improvements all over. Interplanet 0.8 was probably the first candidate I had for doing anything, really. And it looked like it would work out pretty well. It didn't quite, though. See here we've got the double fuel boosters, and we've got, the reformed pod from 0.7.1. One of the problems I found I was having, though, is half the damn time I would just end up crashing into one of these launch towers. And, well, you can understand how that goes bad. That just goes so terrible. Yeah. In the earlier designs, one of the problems I was actually having was I came off the launch pad ridiculously slowly and had almost no acceleration. That's why I added in the center column here, so it's 7 instead of 6. Yeah. But yeah, with these solid fuel boosters out on the outside, we get far more launch power, but I still have to address some of the explosion issues, and we didn't quite have enough power on this design to get us where we needed to go. So, I present to you the design I've decided to go with, which is 0.9. Here we can see the standard launch columns. I improved the stability a bit by reforming the pod to be this much lighter by just taking out the fuel tank. This is a one-way mission. I'm pretty sure Eve has a thicker atmosphere than Earth, so just the parachute and landing legs should be more than sufficient for landing. Earth, I mean Kerbin. We've got these solid rocket boosters, and it's stable enough. We still on occasion scratch against the launch tower, but it's generally pretty good. I would say 90% success rate on launches. Which, when you come out of an engineering department run by me, 90% success rate? Golden. Frickin' golden. This is probably pretty terrible, and I should never be an engineer. Alright. So we've gone over the design dock of failure. Now let's prepare to actually launch. Alright. So the mission map. Oh, pay no attention to the Kerbal. Just ignore him. He was a willful volunteer of totally not a Kerbal Pult, and it wasn't a guy holding on to a solid rocket booster, I swear. It was not having a pile of fun with random experiments. So without further ado, let's just launch before I accidentally press M again and hope that we don't see him. Powering up. Launching in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch. Okay, we're clear. No impacts. Yeah, as you can see, we do come off the launch pad at a rather bit of a slow pace, but that's okay. That's without the solid rocket boosters. It's like we would be at 1/10 speed right now and just slowly climbing. Yeah, so first stage, preparing ejection. As you can see, we're actually slowing down a fair amount. There we are. Second stage of solid boosters are active. And going up. For those of you wondering, all my fuel tanks are stored in the first stage of the rocket. Or stage 0, rather. So, that way I don't have a giant fuel gauge, because I've got like a bajillion tanks here. I found it was just really annoying. Alright, so we're preparing ejection. Alright, so we're clear. And as you can see, we're now starting to speed up even without those. Those things are scary us out of the ultimately really thick part of the atmosphere. So I got a question before about impulse. You'll notice as the specific impulse increases, the fuel consumption decreases. It's basically the fuel consumption at any given point in the atmosphere. Related usually to heating levels and other stuff. I mean, I'm no NASA engineer, and I don't particularly understand rockets to the point where I could probably build one. Well, I could probably build a rocket. Wouldn't expect it to be very fast, accurate, or anything, really. But I could guarantee I could probably make something that could fly, and would be a projectile. That's really about the limit of my knowledge. How are we doing? Yeah, this tank's about to run dry. This gets us out of the atmosphere. This is the exiting atmosphere stage, I should call it. As you notice, the flow rate's down to 93. Consumption rate here, of course, 93. And dropping. It used to be at the launch pad, it was 97. So yeah, that's impulse and fuel consumption. As we continue to speed up, we are doing fine. Simple launch. And look out below. As we sail off into the cosmos. We did take off during the day. Please tell me I was not an idiot. Okay, good. If you want to go to Eve, you take off during the day. If you want to go to, Duna, you'd take off during the night. At least theoretically, I suppose. I didn't really, plan the, takeoff. Also, if you go out here, you can see untitled spacecraft debris. That was from before Interplanet 0.1, where I created a design that worked. But again, frame rate issues. Are we on the final tank? Yeah, this is about to run out. Okay. Preparing. SAS has to be turned off during this procedure. Don't ask me why. The SAS seems to have some issues where it will start pointing me in really odd directions. And SAS on. During that stage, it just starts pointing me in ridiculously weird directions. Like 30 degrees east or something. Like it's trying to make me do a gravity turn or something. But we know here at Kerbal Space Enterprises that gravity turns are heretical and stupid, and we will never use them. They are poor technology and should be stopped by all other space programs. As we have, by going to another planet, will prove gravity turns are completely ineffective. In all honesty, if I probably did gravity turns, I could make this a two-way flight. I probably could. But you know what? I haven't done a gravity turn yet. Not gonna start now. Iron Man it all the way. So yeah, it's pretty much... let's zoom in again. We pretty much are just gonna shoot out at this point. This is the stage that will carry us all the way out to specific... here we go. Consumption is 92.7. We've got 6 tanks, so it's 15.4 liters per tank. Do some math, do a bit of rounding probably, and that's what it'll come out to. And yay, landing legs. But yeah, we're just going to basically be carried out here. We have a stage in which to drop these 6 fuel pods. They are effectively drop tanks, and then the main tank in the middle will drain. We're only about halfway on these tanks. It's 3200, 1600 is, of course, then. Yeah, we're at the halfway point right about now. And orbit, speed increasing. It's going out pretty slow as is, and I can't increase the speed because we're under acceleration. Strangely enough, you can increase the speed while under acceleration in the atmosphere. Though I don't do that because my ship would tear to pieces. Yeah. But this is the design I ended up going with. I haven't really, this upper stage has not really changed in design because this thing just proved to be really effective. Oh god, are part of my landing legs frigged again. Raise that, and that. Yeah, there you go. Sometimes it does that. When you press G, it just doesn't work. If you've recently extended them or whatever. Kind of a glitch. Still, I'm loving this new, I guess you could call it a night sky, but I don't really know what you would want to call it. I guess you could call it just, the space in general. Although, as I look at it, I realize just how dusty my monitor is. Crap, I do not have a dust rag, or anything to use as a dust rag nearby. Actually, you'll do. There we go, let me wipe off my monitor of dust so I can actually see. Ah, the sky is beautiful when I can see it. Alright, that's enough. Alright. So yeah, our apoapsis is now beginning to shoot out. Pretty much without question, and we're ready to drop off these fuel tanks. And we will momentarily. Prepare to drop fuel tanks in T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Done. And now we shoot out at an impressively increasing speed. And because our apoapsis is already so high, we're just going to take a massive shot out there. Just completely ignore Kersey. He's, just hanging out. Here's hoping we don't get any encounters on the way out, and there we are. Kerbal escape in 3 days, 22 hours. And we still have about a quarter of a fuel tank left. Not terrible, I'd say. Not terrible at all. But yeah, I'm loving this new sky. Like, you can see, like, whole galaxies. That's pretty cool. Although probably unrealistic for a galaxy to be that bright. But I've never been outside the atmosphere, so I can't tell. But it's going to be a long ride out there. As our speed inevitably has this problem of decreasing as we go out. There we are. Okay. Uh-oh. Yeah, we got caught again in Kerbin's orbit. Crap. Alright, power up the engines. Alright, let's just make sure we have enough power to stay out there this time. Alright. This time we should have enough power to stay out there, but we are going to have a Kerbin encounter out there. That's fine. We just need to... are we going to have a Kerbin encounter? Not for a while. That's the good news. Alright, so we should pull ahead of Kerbin. I want to go to my apoapsis, so... that's fine. I mean, we're in no hurry here. But I was doing a bit of practice with the design that worked originally. Because, as it turns out, it's ridiculously hard to precisionally pinpoint the location in which you want to, in which that one would want to rendezvous with a planet. Because we're talking on a solar system scale, the gravitational range of a planet is tiny. It's really, really hard. But I don't think we're going to get to that this episode. I think I'm just going to do the periapsis adjustment once we get there. Like I said, this is going to take about a 4-year journey just to pull this off. Because I don't have the exact math behind, you know, NASA's crazy ability to just shoot from, say, Earth to Mars like that. And, you know, predict that easily. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm entirely sure it's possible for me to do that in this game. But I'd be damned if I have a clue how. I don't even have a clue where to start with the math on that. Alright, so we're 1 day, 7 hours out. Okay, so once we get here and do our periapsis adjustment, I'm going to call it an end of the episode. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so we're just past our apoapsis. Alright. Now, I don't really have to be quick or anything here. The reality of it is I basically, like, even though I'm moving 9,000 meters a second, we're talking distance on such a massive scale that, being like 100,000 meters off my apoapsis or periapsis or whatever is really quite minor. And it takes a while to get used to the scale of things. It really, really does. Alright, so we're free to drop that off. And continue out with the far more fuel efficient Nerva engines, or LVN atomic rocket motors. Ironically, they're modeled after the Nerva rocket engines that I used to use, Nerva nuclear rocket engines I used to use in my modded Let's Play parts. So, for the people who complained that I was using OP parts, shove it, I say. Shove it, shove it, shove it, ha ha ha. The developers used it. So, screw you guys, the developers used it. But yeah, like, even adjusting my periapsis will take several minutes. So, you know, get comfortable. And the amount of lining up I have to do is ridiculous. The other thing you'll notice is I'm going to have to bring my periapsis up here. It's slightly off, but that's fine, whatever. We need to make sure that we slow down enough here. Don't slow down too much here, otherwise we might get caught by Kerbin. I hope we don't, but, you know, we might. So yeah, I believe this is the first tank draining. Like, among these three engines, 4.6 liters a second. It's pretty good. And atop that we have another 3,200 liters and another 12,000 liters. We should have more than enough, I think, to maybe even get back. I don't know if it'll be possible to get back, because I just don't know. We'll see. Depends if I decide to, if I run out of fuel and have to pop this off. I might try and take that down with me, but I'm doubtful. Mostly because the landing legs are up here and not down there. And I wasn't going to bring a spare set of landing legs, too much weight. But yeah, the amount of time I've just been sitting here trying to adjust my periapsis is huge. And I am liable, like I said, I've already been out here 97 days. I'm going to be making about 4 years of orbits, probably, if not more, just to match Eve. Part of the reason is because in order to properly align the orbits, I found I have to do this. I have to scroll into Eve, and when Eve passes the point of orbit, I have to, I use the moon, the outside of the moon effectively is the range in which I have to do it, the moon gilly. So I try and, ensure that I pass through this. This is like my target, if you would. My, I guess you could say a target. Oh shoot, whoop, we've gone a little too far here. I think, have we gone too far? I can't tell. I need to be centered around the sun. No, I think we're pretty close to on target. We'll find out in a bit when Eve reaches there. And the next place that we have to go is to the, what is it called? Orbital equatorial plane of some sort? It's the point where I would otherwise shoot north to adjust my periapsis upwards and my apoapsis downwards, because that's what I'm going to be doing. No idea what that point's called. You guys can tell me what that is in the comments, because I know you inevitably will. Everyone always does. Everyone complains I didn't know what the hell the island of Hispaniola was. I thought it was the island of the Dominican or something. Hey, my geography's not perfect, and I don't claim to be a rocket scientist. So, this is the non-geographer and non-rocket scientist Calvin, signing off from the middle of freaking space. Suck it. They used the engine. So, to everyone who told me I was cheating, suck it.